Good morning, everyone, and aloha.
Aloha.
Again. Thank you very much for attending the October Grand Service here at Pearl Church. And as I stated at the beginning of today's service, the reason we call it the Grand Service is because Tenrikyo began in October 26, 1838. So this month is designated not as a monthly service, but as a Grand Service. And we commemorate the Teachings Day of Origin, October 26, 1838, by calling it the Grand Service. I'd like to thank you all for coming today and for your kind and sincere offerings. Today's sermon will be given by Mrs. Taeko Nakao. Please welcome Mrs. Taeko Nakao.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I think this is my turn to do the sermon. This time we're taking turns. And yes, today I would like to talk about how to accumulate our virtue in our soul. People can have a lot of money and material things, but they may not be able to live a happy life if you don't have virtue in your heart. That money might end up being used for medical expenses due to illness, or you might get robbed, or the value of your investments that you bought goes down and you suffer a big loss. But if you are virtuous in your heart and you receive God's blessings, such as being saved from danger or car accident, making your illness less serious, and being protected from man-made and natural disasters. So how do you accumulate virtue? For instance, one, like pick up the trash on the road, which I have been doing this with Raylene. This during the pandemic, we were not able to go to do the missionary work, people talking to the people much. So me and Raylene and other lady, Miss Kayoko, we've been going and pick up the rubbish on this 10th Ave and 9th Ave and Raya. And second, help those in need. Well, in any help, we can help people who are suffering. And number three, donate or raise funds for those in need. For instance, Lahaina is in disaster. Many people are still suffering from people who have survived, but still they have a bad burn, and people are sent to hospital in Honolulu, and they've been taken care of. But the severe burn, some people die from that. So we do the fundraising for Lahaina. Number four, pray for the happiness of those around you. Pray for people around you who needs help. We do the prayers interdaily. For instance, us, we have daily service morning and evening, and we ask God for their happiness and being safe. And number six is always smile. The smiling to the people is also, you can accumulate the virtue to make people around you make happy. This does not cost any money and just make people feel comfortable. Yeah, in any case, when you see people with an angry face, you feel kind of anxious or you feel uncomfortable, but when you have a smile, smile is the best medicine, or best making people happy, I think. Okay, and then God showers blessings on all human equally and without discrimination, like rain falling from heaven. God gives us showers of blessing, the size of a rain catcher of virtue. Just as an example, the capacity of large medium, or small, determines how much of the blessing we can receive depending on how we use our minds. There are people who have a virtual container the size of a coffee cup size, for instance, or bucket size, or 55 gallon drum size. It's a metaphorically I'm saying, some people has a smaller, a medium size, or the bigger container. People with coffee cup size containers may enjoy the blessing of health, but the container is small, so the rain that brings blessings spills over. The person may not receive other blessings, such as not having marital harmony, not being blessed financially, not blessed with strong family ties, not having the blessing of avoiding traffic accidents, and not blessed with avoiding natural disasters such as earthquake, tsunami, and strong winds. However, people who have large vessels, such as the 55-pound drum size, can collect lots of blessings, such as having strong family and friendship ties, having no problems with money, health, and avoid traffic accidents. Such a person has the virtue of being able to escape from natural disasters. So how can we enlarge our virtue container? To receive this invisible virtue, it is important to put the Tenrikyo teachings into practice and do Hinokishin. Okay, practicing Hinokishin means being grateful for being able to use the body that we have borrowed from God and do things like cleaning the parks and doing things that make people happy, especially if you can do it behind the scenes and without being recognized for it. This teaching is based on the 8 mental dust. Mental dust meaning we use of negative use of mind, which we compare as mental dust, and we state 8, which is miserliness, like you have so many things but you don't want to give it to anybody. That's miser. Covetousness, and hatred, hating people, self-love, grudge-bearing, anger, greed, and arrogance. Those are 8. Additional, falsehood, which is to tell a lie, and flattery, such as saying things to please others with the intent of material or personal gain. Remove the dust off your soul through daily prayers service. Okay, I'd like to share my story of faith, my faith experience. When I was younger, I was pessimistic and thought that I was a person without virtue. I always had bad luck. No matter what I tried, nothing worked out well for me, and I thought I was going to live a life with a bad destiny. I was wondering how I could have a good destiny or a good life. One day, I asked a minister who was my uncle, the head of a church. I asked him, what path should I take to reach a good destiny? Do you think I can change my life to a better? He told me, trust me, trust in my voice and follow me, and you will definitely find a path to a good destiny. And so he encouraged me to go to the 3-month spiritual development course of Tenrikyo Church headquarters in Japan, which I did. One day in the 2nd month of the 3-month spiritual development course, during the morning service at the church headquarters, I thought, I want to spend the rest of my life to save other people. I don't know why, but I just thought, it came up to my mind, and I thought to myself, I felt much happier serving people, helping others, than the time I was free. I had a lot of free will, and I could do anything. I could use my money, whatever I want to. But I wasn't really happy. The material things never made me happy. But serving people, helping others, I felt much comfortable in my life, and I felt more confidence. Well, in other words, by learning this teaching, I realized that true human happiness lies in cleansing the dust from one's heart. Means always reflect upon ourselves. If I use a wrong use of mind, I always try to reflect upon ourselves and try not to use, and doing things that are good to others and being able to save others. I think my destiny has changed to a much better direction. Well, soon after, I met my husband and decided to marry to the successor of Tenrikyo Pearl Church and came to Hawaii. After the birth of my first 2 children, we started living in a rented house in Kalihi, right next to Old Triple C, which is the Oahu prison. This was Miss Toshi, Yamato's mother. She saw the newspaper ad, Hawaii Hochi newspaper. She said, there is a rent with $307 a month in Kalihi. I didn't know what kind of place Kalihi was in those days. But I thought, oh, it's cheap, and it's a pretty big house, like 2-bedroom with another small little storage. It was upstairs house, downstairs was another family lived, and I thought it's a perfect, we had a yard too, but actually it was next to Old Triple C. And when we went to at the house in Kalihi, we went to bed at night. We could hear the rats run around in the attic. One night, it's surrounded by, one night it sounded like a cat had entered the attic and was chasing a mouse, making thumping sounds above in the ceiling. They raced back and forth several times, so that was pretty often that we could hear running, the rats running and cats chasing after, and we could hear the rats going like, it's going meow, meow, meow. Maybe the cat caught the rat, I guess. And in December, when there was a lot of rain, the roof was leaking badly, so we brought up our pails, buckets, and kitchen pots to catch the water. There were days when I felt depressed, wondering if I was going to live in this dilapidated house forever. When I first left Japan to come to Hawaii,
Not the actual house.
Very similar.
when I first left Japan to come to Hawaii, my uncle said to me, in 20 or 30 years, a day will definitely come when you will feel it was worthwhile, as the founders said. So remembering these words, I remember myself feeling better again. My goal was to help people. So every day I went out with my 2 children, Annabella on the stroller, and led Moses by my free hand as we visited the nearby houses in Kalihi around Coburn Street to do missionary work. A few years later, the twins were born, and I was busy raising 4 children for 6 years. The construction of the Pearl Church building at this Kaimuki Palolo house began in March 1989, which stands here now, and was completed in October of the same year. So it was maybe about 7 months, and this building was completed. When I was getting when it was getting close to completion, we gave notice to our landlord saying that we are moving out. because, we should tell them earlier, maybe 3 months earlier. So immediately after that, all our neighbors who had the same landlord received notice to move out in 30 days. Apparently, the landlord had sold these properties. I heard that they sold to Hawaiian Host chocolate or something. We were blessed with the right timing that we were moving out anyway. Otherwise, we would have received the same notice and would have to look for another place to live. If this church had not been constructed, we would have been wandering on the street, wondering where we would live. The timing of an immediate eviction from the rented house and the construction of this church showed us the miracle of God's blessings. I, who had a bad fate, woke up to this faith and accumulated a virtue. Let's carry out Hinokishin to save others, people who can change their fate to a better one, and let us enlarge our vessels of virtue. I believe your life will be wonderful and meaningful. Thank you for your kind attention.